Are you serious? You're going to need a cup of coffee. Are you serious? Just calm down if you're in New York. But it's not good. I mean, New York City, a state of emergency has been declared. You can see these are pictures just recently taken. Um, it's incredible. Let me tell you what's going on, and it's not going to get better. This is a dangerous. We're right now in New York City. It is danger zone. Tell you all about it in just a second. But first, let's put a quick shout out right now to trimwithpaul.com. That's www.trimwithpaul.com. A new study reveals a surefire way to increase your odds of losing weight. It is with the habit of stepping on the scale. That's right. Researchers say stepping on the scale frequently helps you shed the unwanted pounds compared to if you didn't, by keeping your goals in front of your mind. Hundreds of thousands are looking to accelerate their weight loss with supplemental support. And I found it. I really did. I found this exceptional alternative made by BioTrust at www.trimwithpaul.com. I found this exceptional alternative. It uses naturally sourced, science backed ingredients from Earth. That's right here, to support your weight management, reduce your cravings, and a boosted metabolism. And you can save 51% off right now, this month of September, if you go right now to www, hit that link right there below, www.trimwithpaul.com. That's www.trimwithpaul.com. Guys, you really will be glad you did. And imagine that. Just step on the scale, stay focused, take the supplements, and get focused, and it works. All right, guys. We are today, as the sun sets this evening, it will begin the Feast of Tabernacles. And of course, you can find that in Leviticus chapter 23. It tells you, of course, on the 15th day of the month, which is the 15th day of the Jewish calendar month, you're able to give. You're able to give an offering of faith, of passion, with prayer requests. And I highly recommend you do that and celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, God's delivering power as he led the children of Israel through the wilderness for 40 years, keeping them safe, living in those tents, in those booths. And this is a very powerful commanded blessing that comes with this offering. It's a free will offering. You give what you want, and you can start giving today. It's September 29th through October 6th. God will bless you. He promises he would in his word, and he does. Amen. Well, meanwhile, let me tell you what else is happening. New York City, you've got some problems. There is a state of emergency as torrential rain floods the subways, the roads, and the basements. And how high is the water, Mama? Well, it's about 15 feet and rising. Flooding has closed the roads. It's disrupted the subway service. It has flooded basements and buildings all over New York City as a dangerous, life-threatening rainfall has overwhelmed the concrete expanse during this morning's commute. A month's worth of rain, more than 4 inches, fell over parts of Brooklyn in just 3 hours. 4 inches of rain in 3 hours. That's insane. That happened this morning. The intense rainfall was 1 to 2 inches an hour, falling across New York tri-state area. The entire area is expected to continue until tonight, late in the evening. It's just going to keep on raining. New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency for New York City as the area is completely flooded as torrential rains continue to fall and storm surges during a high tide came in. Basements, subways, streets. It's insane. The National Weather Service has warned of a considerable flash flood damage Major threat for New York City. There's water on the tracks, suspended the subway service for multiple lines throughout, especially in Brooklyn. And the weather has forced the closure of LaGuardia International Airport and has created massive flight delays. Now, meanwhile, the government's about to shut down. And if the government shuts down in the next 48 hours, that's going to really affect air traffic travel. Okay. Now, 8.5 million people are under the flash flood warnings in state of emergency in New York City right now. The flood water spilling into the subways has caused major disruptions to the subway service on 9 train lines in Brooklyn, and the New York Metropolitan Transit Authority is telling us. Heavy rainfall was also flooding basements in New York City this morning, according to the New York City Emergency Management. It has also overwhelmed the sewer system and has flooded roads in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Hoboken, New Jersey, and forcing road closures there, according to authorities. 8.5 million people living under a flash flood warning this morning across portions of New York and New Jersey, the region's National Weather Service says, as the rain continues to fall. Millions of New Yorkers have received alerts from the Weather Service Friday morning warning of a dangerous, life-threatening situation with considerable risk of flash flood damage. About 1.1 inches of rain fell in 1 hour at John F. Kennedy International Airport at JFK in Queens early this morning. The major travel hub has recorded over 4 inches of rainfall since midnight, according to the Weather Service. That's crazy. JFK Airport, 4 inches of rain since midnight. The flood threat will impact 25 million people across the Northeast today, and New York tri-state area is facing a level 3 out of 4 risk for flash flooding. This is a dangerous time. I'm telling you, this is a dangerous moment in New York. The apocalypse has come to New York City. The urban flood threat prompted officials in New York City to issue a travel advisory starting at 4 a.m. this morning until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we're talking 26 hours under a serious weather emergency, potentially widespread travel impacts in this morning's commute. No question. It is absolute chaos down there. The governor said, we're urging New Yorkers to please prepare for heavy rain, potential flooding throughout Friday and Saturday. And according to the New York City Emergency Management Commissioner, Zach Iskol, he said all New Yorkers need to exercise caution. If you must travel, consider using public transportation, but don't do that either because the subway's not working. A lot of the subway lines is not working. Basically, if you're wanting to travel, folks, in New York, stay home, call off today. Just say, look, I can't get in there. The roads are flooded. The subways are down. I just can't travel. How am I going to travel? It's a state of emergency. So southern Brooklyn is flooded. Please heed the warnings. Many local roads there are not passable. Also, major flooding in Brooklyn today. Trains have shut down. The only way out of the station is through walking knee-deep water. Central New Jersey, northward to Manhattan, Long Island, in New York, and into southern Connecticut, and even to Hudson Valley, are expected to see the highest amounts of rain. And meanwhile, neighboring cities like Philadelphia and Boston could see 2 inches of rain, while Hartford, Connecticut, is expected to get 3 inches of rain. That means that entire area, guys, it's insane. As a matter of fact, there is some places that is going to get between 5 and 8 inches of rain. So flash flooding, increased flooding Storm surge because of the storms that were in the Atlantic that came ashore, just bringing tons of rain and just setting on the city. And it's become an apocalyptic situation in New York City, a state of emergency as torrential rain floods the subways, the roads, and the basements. We're praying for everybody there in New York. And this is incredible. Last night's broadcast with Mike from around the world, we talked about all these apocalyptic events, the tsunami, basically a tsunami. It's bigger than a tsunami. 328-foot tidal wave that slammed into Greenland on the 16th of September. Never reported in the mainstream media. Only the scientists reported it on their different peer review papers and reports. And so we had to go and dig those all up and bring them to the people because not one still haven't. Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, PBS, New York Times, Reuters, Associated Press, none of them, nobody, not even the tabloids in UK that like to cover me all the time, nobody has told people about this massive tsunami wave that slammed into Greenland, and then a 30-foot wave that slammed into Cape Town, South Africa, killing 5 people and injuring 7. Nobody has reported those 2 waves except me, and I did because these scientists sent me their information that they published, and not one media outlet took that information and did a story, which they normally always do. What are they hiding? Then you had this earthquake in Italy, hundreds of earthquakes, hundreds in the last 10 days, hitting the super volcano, raising speculation of possibly evacuating the city of 80,000 people. They're afraid this super volcano is about to go. Okay. So, yeah. And then you have that storm up there in the UK and Ireland. They're calling that a bomb cyclone. And it's pummeling Ireland and UK last night. It's a bombogenesis. You got that 100-mile-an-hour winds with torrential rain and huge wave swells and storm surge, all of that coming in. Guys, and this is just a couple things I'm going to tell you about, just craziness that's going on right now, including now New York City is in a state of emergency this morning with floods. So, yeah, we're living in the times of the Bible said that there would be all of these apocalyptic, catastrophic, cataclysmic events of biblical proportion that are going to be affecting all over the globe. And of course, last night we'd asked Mike from around the world about these events, that why didn't they cover it? He said it's because they don't want the people to know that there are major, major changes going on right now. And this is not from fossil fuel. This is not from, using gas or burning coal or having too much cattle in the fields. I mean, this is not this green initiative of blaming the human race has nothing to do with it. Obviously, Planet X is creating changes catastrophically all over the place, and people are not at all prepared. A lot of folks gave their lives to Jesus Christ last night. We're very excited about that. I'll be right back in just a moment. I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday. Falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. Oh, that's right. Reading Hemingway. I used to love reading his books. Especially when I was in my teens. I read all of his books. He's just a great author. And I was privileged a couple years ago to actually go and visit his home and museum down there in Florida. And quite extraordinary guy. I mean, actually, especially if you realize that he had a cat that had 6 toes on each foot, on each paw. And then that cat had kittens, and they all had 6 toes. So after he died, they kept these cats, and today there's 54 cats that are all the descendants of Hemingway's cat, and 54 cats, all with 6 toes. And when I was there at his house, they kept about 6 or 7 of them there. When you're going around the house and there's 6 or 7 of them walking around drinking water, whatever, and laying on his table or whatever, and there are those 6-toed cats. The others are in a location where they're cared for. Okay, so anyway, having said all that, the song was actually written by Mike Ward. Mike has written some songs that were hits for Mark Chestnut and for George Strait, and he wrote this song. Mike Ward did. Mike is a friend of Israel Hall from Israel's days of travel and country music and living in Nashville. And so there was 2 artists that were going to record this song. Winona Judd committed to record the song. She was going to go into the studio and record it and put it on her album on a Monday, but on a Saturday, one of her family members, I can't remember who it was in a terrible motorcycle accident. So she canceled the recording session. And by the time she got back around to putting that album together, she chose another song and left that one out. And then Elton John made a commitment that he was going to record that song. And then at the last moment changed it and went with a different song. So Mike Ward's song was sitting there and no one ever recorded it. Well, Israel called him up and said, can we record that song? Pastor Paul Begley likes Hemingway. Can he record that song? And so Mike got on the phone. I talked to him and he said, sure, go ahead and record it. So I did. And it is a beautiful song, just beautiful music, beautiful song. And that's the story behind it. So tell Elton John, goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. You could have had that song. Oh, God, have mercy. I'll be back with more. Pray for New York. That's the main thing. Pray for New York because this is some terrible flooding, okay? Terrible flooding. We're living in the last days. Give your life to Jesus Christ. He is coming back. The signs are everywhere.